Spotlight. I'm Ed Codi. We are here at Butler High School to take a look inside Golden Tornado Athletics. No one better to get us started than Athletic Director Bill Milan. Bill, you have one of the biggest school districts in the WPAL, one of the biggest in the state. You know, at one time, this job was part-time, but obviously that's not the case anymore.
Yeah, I mean, with the number of sports teams we have and athletes participating nowadays, especially at a high school of this level, you have to have a full-time athletic director taking care of all the things that go on with the sports team. So,
Bill, how many teams do you have to look over in the varsity program here?
well, we have a total of 26 varsity teams, but we have a total 7 through 12 with junior high and varsity sports. We have a total of 55 teams total.
So when you talk about 55 teams, you're not only dealing with coaches, athletes, but bus schedules and getting and making schedules up. So what's a typical day like for you?
Well, it varies from day to day. Like, obviously, right now, this time of the year, the spring is crazy with the weather. So what may be on my agenda or my schedule for the day may fall all the way down to number 5 or 6 if I'm canceling and rescheduling games and things of that nature. So.
And obviously, you're just not Monday through Friday. So you're busy on the weekends also.
Yeah, well, a lot of weekends, obviously, with sporting events. Sports don't end when Friday ends, Friday evening, and the workday ends. Unfortunately, we have a lot of contests and things that go on, whether it's games or practices or whatever the case may be on the weekends, too. So,
What's the toughest thing about your job? Is it the time requirement, or is it just dealing with everyday issues that pop up, and I'm sure they do from time to time?
I don't think it's so much the time, because I think, if you're in the sports world and the makeup of what an athletic director does, you're going to put the time in. I think what's very difficult to do is to please everybody. And when I mean everybody, from, your coaches to your athletes to boosters, parents. So it's, kind of a balancing act of trying to do what's best for everybody and trying to please as many people as you can. So
I ask every athletic director this. You're in charge of the whole program, hiring of coaches. What do you demand of your coaches? What are you looking for in a coach when you interview one?
Well, obviously, you want them to have a solid background in whatever sport they're going to be coaching. I always prefer, if we can, to have someone that has a college playing background. I think kids naturally these days look up to people or coaches that have that kind of background, and that naturally lends itself to a special type of relationship between player and coach. So.
It seems like, from heard from different people and athletic directors, finding assistant coaches is becoming increasingly difficult.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We have a lot of good people in this community that have strong backgrounds in particular sports, but unfortunately, they can't be here every day at 3 o'clock when school ends to be here for practice and go to competitions and stuff like that. So it does make it tough to find quality assistants.
Bill, everyone talks about they want to win, they want championships, but that can't be the albeit of what you're looking for in a program. So what do you consider a successful program?
Well, I think, obviously everybody wants to win, but I think if you're teaching the right values and you're teaching things that the kids can take with them into life and things that they can use later on, I think that's the ultimate goal. Is you want them to be good people and you want them to have fun and learn from whatever sport they were involved in. So.
Butler's had a great tradition in a lot of sports. The girls' track, boys' track programs are tremendous. Boys' basketball, the swimming program has been resurgent in recent years. But as we talked before, everywhere I go, I get the one question, the elephant in the room, is what's going on with Butler High School football?
Yeah, I mean, we've obviously struggled there quite a bit with football over the years, and we're always trying to look for what can we do to improve the program. We've had a number of coaches come through recently. I think the one thing we need to find is some stability with the coaching position itself. Let someone build something here at Butler and keep them long enough so that we can see the fruits of that labor. So, and we're hoping we can do that with our current coach, Eric Christie. Teaches in the building. I think that's a big thing, to have someone in the building to be able to interact with the kids during the day. And if we can build a good staff around him, which we have a lot of good people right now, I think we can build something here in the future.
Bill, you do a great job. You have a difficult job. I would appreciate your cooperation, and good luck to you and the great job you're doing.
All right, thanks.
Butler's had a great tradition in swimming going back to the days of Coach George Bestranson, Pat Madden, and now under Dave Bocce. And with us here, one of the most decorated swimmers in Butler High School history, Laura Gettler. Laura, congratulations on your significant achievements. Just let me go over these. WPIL gold in the breaststroke, gold in the 200 individual medley, PIAA gold in the breaststroke, a silver in the breaststroke in the WPIL. You have record times. You had a record, and we'll discuss that in one day, and lost it in about a second. You own the pool record here at Butler. You have the pool record at North Allegheny, which is really significant because they've won, like 8 or 9 WPL championships, 2 or 3 state in a row. So just a fantastic accomplishments for you, and you're still a junior.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, it's been quite a journey through this whole process.
And a lot of hard work. And let's go back to the WPIL, your matchup with Zoe Skirball from Fox Chapel, who's just a freshman. But what a battle you two had down there in the WPL meet. Describe it for us in the breaststroke.
Yeah, I went in knowing that she was a good competitor, and both of our times were pretty close. But, I mean, I just tried to do my best, and what happened happened, so.
So when you're in a pool and you're in a close contest like that, do you have a sense of how close it is? Because you're so focused on what you're doing. Do you know where your nearest competitor is?
Relatively, yeah, but when it's down to the end, I'm pretty much just focused on my own race, and I don't really know where she's at or where the other people are around me.
So you finish second, but you break a WPL record, and then she breaks the same record. So you two are 1 and 2 now.
Yeah. So she gets the record, but that's okay. I mean, I still went under the time that I wanted to. So.
Now let's go to the state. You win your first state gold medal, and once again, it's competition with her in the 100 breaststroke, and you beat her by 1/10 of a second.
Yeah, after Friday's nights of competition and me not doing so well in the 200, I just tried to really focus as much as I can on the breaststroke and just put everything into it and see if I can outtouch her in that event.
And that's a gold medal. You could hold it up, show everyone. This is her state gold medal, collecting them. Now, next year's coming up, your senior year. You know you're going to meet Zoe again. She's only a freshman. What will you do over the summer to get prepared for next year?
This summer I'm training straight through for Nationals in August, which is in California or Stanford area. And so pretty much I'll just be training straight through the summer for breaststroke, 100 and 200. That's long course though, but that will be preparing me for next year as well.
So when you say training, it's just not all in the pool. It's other forms of training like weight training. And so, do you have someone who's a special trainer for you?
Mm-hmm. I have my coach, Dave Bocce, and then I have another coach I have for like weight training and dry land. Who's a close friend's mom of mine, or a friend's mom of mine.
So how do you prevent from getting, I'm not talking about the physical fatigue, but the mental fatigue of doing this over and over again? When do you get breaks in here to keep yourself fresh as a competitor?
Usually I get breaks after every season, but this season and next season I won't be getting a break because Olympic trials is coming up and I'll be training for that. So there really isn't a break the next 2 years for me.
Are you still in a 2-a-day practice mode in mornings and evenings?
Not right now, but after next week I will be going back into double practices and maybe even triples sometimes.
Now, I know with all your success, Laura, that schools are showing an interest in you. Do you have a group of schools that you're interested in, and when do you think you'll make a decision?
I do have a group of schools I'm interested in. Still trying to keep in contact with them. But I feel like I probably won't make a decision till later this year or even next school year. I'm not 100% yet.
Any thoughts about what you're going to study when you go to school?
I would like to study like physical therapy, and if not, I'd just go into like a regular exercise and science major or something.
So it wouldn't bother you if you went across the country if a Stanford were interested, or is that too far away from home?
I have a feeling that Stanford and any place in California would be maybe a little bit too far for me, but I am thinking about going south. I'm okay with that. So.
Lori Gettler, you've had a fantastic career so far at Butler and another year to come, and we look forward to doing one of your meets again next year. Congratulations on your many accomplishments.
Thank you.
These days, it's quite unusual for an athlete to play more than one sport, but it's rare for an athlete to play two sports at one time. Not the case here, but Butler's Jack Codi, who won over 100 wrestling matches in his career. He's also a pole vaulter, holds a school indoor record in the pole vault, 15 feet, 1 inch. So, Jack, the first question I'm going to ask you is, how are you doing this?
It is tough to balance the two, but, good coaches in both corners, Stoner for wrestling and McGarrett for pole vault. With their help, that's how I've done it. I wouldn't be able to do it without those two.
So when you first started doing this, you had to talk to both coaches. They suddenly come to an agreement that you could do both of these?
Yeah. So we had to balance two practices. Indoor season overlaps wrestling. And so Stoner likes it. Wrestling season, you got to go to wrestling practice. And so go to wrestling practice, and on the weekends when we have time, that's when we would pole vault.
Have you ever run into a situation where you had to compete in both in one day?
I have, twice actually, last year and this year. Or not this year, just last year. So we had a wrestling match against Newcastle, I believe, and then the Butler pole vault meet was that same night. So after winning a match at Newcastle, we ran home and ended up winning the Butler pole vault meet. Qualified for indoor states that night, too.
So how do you get yourself ready mentally? You're wrestling one day, pole vault the next day. Any difficulty in switching?
They're two totally different sports. Wrestling, you got to amp yourself up, and when I pole vault, I like to be relaxed. So it's just a big mind game, mentally being prepared and just staying nice and calm and relaxed.
So you're using some different muscles. So you ever go from one sport to the other and say, wow, I haven't used that muscle for a while?
Yeah, definitely. I'll sore after coming off of wrestling, but it's not too bad. After doing it a bunch of times, the body gets used to it.
So when you practice, are there some days that you just can't get to maybe the pole vault because of your wrestling commitment?
For indoor season, yes. Now that it's outdoor season, wrestling's over with, and so it's just straight pole vault right now.
So right now with the outdoor, you're going to focus on the pole vault, and I'm sure you have your eyes on the school record, outdoor record, and what will that take to beat that record?
The outdoor record is 15.5, so a jump of 15.6 would get that record.
So you've had 15.1 indoor. How much more difficult will it be outdoor to add that 5 inches to that jump?
Now that it's not wrestling season, not little scrawny, skinny kid anymore, so I have some more muscle on me. This should be pretty easy.
Well, you wrestled at 160.
Correct.
And you pole vault at?
I weigh about 170 right now.
Let me ask you pole vaulting, because it takes a lot of courage. How'd you get over that fear factor when you're almost upside down sometimes when you first started the pole vault?
I did gymnastics for about 7 years when I was younger, and so it's like secondhand to me to be upside down.
Well, Jack, you've been very successful in both sports. You're a senior. What does next year look like for you?
Next year, we're gonna pole vault at Slippery Rock. That's where we're going. Mechanical engineering degree, and then hopefully we'll do some cool stuff there.
And I know that you're interested in the military academies, and just recently two student athletes, they were already in their first year at school, one at Purdue and I forget the other university, and they both got their appointments to military academies. So is that still on your mind?
It was until recently I found out I was medically disqualified. I've had a few knee surgeries from wrestling season, so it's out of the book.
Well, Jack, you're a rare breed to compete in both sports like this. We look forward to follow your accomplishments this spring in track. Good luck to you.
Thank you very much.
The Butler track program has been a force in the WPIL going back for maybe 50 or 60 years to the days of Emil Rosenzweig and Dick Codi, Kurt Phillips, and now here with us, Coach John Williams. 11 WPL championships for the girls, 7 for the boys, 2 in a row here for the girls. Coach, you have an elite program. No matter where you go, people talk about the Butler track program.
Well, it's a thing we've tried to carry on. I mean, as you said, that program's been going on for 60 years. Some of these guys laid the groundwork, but we'd like to think the modern era has been pretty strong.
You've had some streaks there with the boys winning 5 in a row back in the late 90s and 2000s, and the girls, I think, won 4 in a row also. Now they have 2 in a row, and you have a lot of athletes every year going on to the States. What's been the success and the keys of success for this program?
Well, I think a lot of it's the Butler work ethic. I mean, a lot of these kids still have that, and they do. When it comes time to practice, they're ready to go. If we look at the history, I mean, we promote our history when we talk about the program, to our kids, and they want to be a part of that. Even being in this gym, we look up on the banner over there. I mean, when they come back 20 years later, I mean, they can see their year up there. They won a title.
And by the way, I want to commend you and Coach Stoner for permitting Jack Codi to participate in both sports, wrestling, and indoor track.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, Jack, obviously wrestling season is very, very physical. And for him to come back and do some pole vaulting on that, he's black and blue. But, boy, the kid really he excelled at that. Yeah,
it seems like every year you find some new athletes. I know Liz Sims, she's a great year again. She's a senior. Now you have a younger girl in the sprints, Gabby Bowden. She's just a sophomore. And then you have Ryan Marcella. Can't mention all of them, but you always seem to find a new star that emerges each year.
Yeah, what's pretty cool is our junior high program. Yeah, and I like to call it every year we have a great draft, because when we get these guys when they're freshmen in ninth grade, guys and girls, man, they're ready to go. I mean, some of these kids could really come in and compete very quickly. And we've been very blessed on the girls' side, because girls do compete a little quicker in the freshman year, where guys it takes, they get that growth spurt, and it might be 10th grade or 11th grade. But we have a great junior high program. They promote it well. They might want it to be fun, but that it really does lay a groundwork. And when we get last year, I think we had on our girls team, we had 11 girls that were freshmen that lettered on a WPL championship team.
That's amazing. And, of course, everyone points to and gets ready for and wants to go see the traditional matchup with North Allegheny. How special is that rivalry?
Well, I mean, obviously, two great programs, and it doesn't matter if it's their place or our place. Everybody's going to raise their level of play on that day. And really, it's a great test for us mid-season. Where do we stand? What do we got to do, to try to go after that team title, and what are we going to do, what's it going to look like when we get ready for the state qualifier.
Well, I know the dual meets are important. Of course, you want to win your section title, but the big events come up with those tri-state events and so on and so forth. Seems like it brings out the best in your athletes.
Yeah, we look at those meets. On dual meets, we kind of look at that as match play. We need to beat the other team. But when we go to these invitationals, when we get late in the season, that's when we want to see their times drop or distances go. And those are very important as far as excelling and setting the tone for the WPL championship and then potential performance at the PIAA meet.
Well, John, thank you very much. Continue the great work, the great tradition here. It's not just a great track program, it's an elite track program.
Well, thank you, Ed. I appreciate the opportunity. It's been a lot of fun, and I look forward to I'd see how this year progresses.
Thank you. Basketball season has just concluded, but the career of this gentleman next to me still has another year to go, and I'm talking about Ethan Morton, the most prolific scorer in Butler High School basketball history, all-time leading scorer with 1,600-plus points. And, Ethan, I was looking this year, you scored 743 points, most ever in a single season. At one time, Bill Saul held the career scoring record with 740-some points. So congratulations to you on your many achievements.
Thank you. It's such a great honor, for me, to play at this school, for my community and, with my teammates and for coaches, just to know all the great players that have been here and to have an accomplishment like that. I'm just so thankful to be in the same category as some of the great guys that have come through here throughout the years.
Well, you're setting a pace for yourself at the top of the mountain with over 1,600 points. Next year, you're going to become the first player ever in Butler High School basketball history to score 2,000 points. That's quite an achievement.
Yeah, I'm excited. Just have to keep praying and thanking God for everything He's done for me, and hope that I just stay healthy. And I think that'll be a pretty cool achievement that not many high school players get to do. So I'll definitely just try to really enjoy that and take it all in, and just make sure I enjoy it with my family, my teammates, and the community.
Well, you broke the single-game scoring record not once but twice. It was 45. You scored 47. Then I saw you in the game against Pine Ridge, and I have to tell you, it's the best basketball game I've ever seen by Butler High School, maybe any athlete in the area, and I've been covering this for a long time, the 51 points you had against Pine.
Thank you. Yeah, it was you know, it stinks that we ended up losing that game, but I have more of an appreciation for it now. I mean, that was just an unbelievable atmosphere. You know, credit to them every time we play them. It just always seems like it's a great game. And just a credit to, you know, Coach Clement and those guys for just putting me in a position to, you know, come out and, you know, try and succeed. And we didn't end up winning, but I think it worked out for us in the long run. So.
Yeah, what about this rivalry with Pine Ridge? And it's fantastic. I know you've only beaten them 2 out of the last 10 times, but the games have been absolutely phenomenal, including the championship game 2 years ago, plus the playoff games. How special is this rivalry?
You know, it's one of the best rivalry I've been a part of. You know, I kind of compare it to maybe like a Steelers-Ravens type rivalry. You know, it stinks that I've only got to beat them a couple times, but playing them all those times my freshman year taught me a lot. Those were all great games with such great players like Phil, Dracovic, Andrew Petcash. You know, the guys on our team too, the Stutzes, Frederick, and last year, you know, splitting with them, and then this year, you know, losing to them both times, but then being able to get them back in the playoffs. You know, it's just such a special rivalry, and I'm excited to see what it brings next year.
So the question a lot of people are asking, where's Ethan going to play college basketball? I know you have a busy summer coming up, a summer league and all that competition. So I'm sure you have a pecking order somewhere in your mind, and I see where you said you'd like to decide by this fall.
Yeah, definitely by this fall. At the beginning, I want to decide, and so I'm able to really enjoy my senior year, just be a kid and get to experience everything like that. But this summer should help. Schools are going to start coming in and doing home visits with me in the spring when I'm not traveling. So I'm excited, you know, to keep building the relationship, see if anything else happens, and just, you know, try and enjoy the last few months of it. And when I feel like I finally found the place that's right for me, you know, I'll make a decision.
Well, Ethan, congratulations to you. You had a great 3 years, and we look forward to next year. I know you want 3 things next year: a section championship, a WPIL championship, and a state championship.
For sure. You know, those are the things that I've dreamed about ever since I started playing. You know, me and Coach talk about it all the time, and whenever you look at those banners that are on the other side of the gym, you know, to see numbers that are still in the 90s, it just really, you know, pushes us every day to work to change that and, you know, take it one step at a time, start with the section championship and then hopefully win a Whitfield championship, and from there try and get a state championship. I know that's kind of uncharted waters for this school when it comes to basketball, but anything is possible. So,
Ethan, thank you.
Thank you.
With me now, the head basketball coach of the Butler High School Boys Golden Tornado, Matt Clement. Coach, last 3 years, 58-21, 2 WPL championship games. 2 games you lost, but you easily could have won. It's been a great run, but I know you're not satisfied.
No, we want that last win, and it's been a lot of, you know, it's brought a lot of pride to the community, and it's really strengthened the program from the bottom up, and a lot of excitement. But you know, as a competitor, we still want to get that last win. But at the same time, we realize, I think when you go through those runs, you realize how hard it is to get to that game. And we've talked about, I think, 5 times in at least my lifetime we've gotten to that game, and I was fortunate enough to be at 4 of them. 2 playing and 2 coaching now, but it's a lot of work and a hard run, and takes a little luck and draws and big shots and everything else. But at the same time, we still want to get that win.
Yeah, a tough loss this year at Mount Lebanon, a game that went back and forth and just wasn't decided really towards the end of that game. It came so close. I could see the frustration there on your part and your players in a game that you very easily could have won.
Yeah, I mean, Mount Lebanon's a tough opponent, and it's a certain style of how they play. And I thought we handled, you know, some of them holding the ball at the end. I thought we handled that better than probably any team I saw on film. That lead usually grew from like 6 to like 20 when that happened. It happened to us the first time we played them. It was a 6-point game, 8-point game. They started holding the ball, and then we were down 30. And I thought we handled it well, put ourselves in a position to win the game. Just had a couple shots go in and out late in the game and weren't able to pull it off.
Now, I asked Ethan about this rivalry with Pine Richland, which has been fierce. Even though they've defeated you 8 out of the last 10, so many of these games have gone down to the wire, including the championship game 2 years ago. So I ask you the same thing I asked him. What makes this rivalry with Pine so special?
Well, I think in general in athletics right now, overall, if you look at the Whitfield, I mean, and Pine Richland's the school that's the powerhouse of most sports right now. So, and you know, in this section with all these good teams, I compare them to how NA was when I was growing up and when I was graduating, they were the powerhouse. Now NA is still there in all the sports also, but Pine Richland's kind of, it's the area a lot of people are moving into. There's a lot of money in the area, and they're good. I tell people all the time, that no excuses to be made up. They're good. They have good teams. They have good players. And we take a lot of pride. Somebody said to me something, I think John Henrietto interviewed me before that game when we played them in the semis, and said something about, how they've kind of been a thorn in our side. And I said, listen, I said, who haven't they been a thorn in the side of right now?
Who's beating them?
Yeah, who's beating them? And I said, and if you look at it, we're one of the team, we compete with them. We've beat them, we compete with them. We rarely get blown out by them. But at the same time, that's, again, for me, I take a lot of pride in the fact that we can compete with anybody. And we've built that program here where, this is a tough section that we play in. All the sports that Butler play in, and our section is tough, especially in 6A. And for them to be the one that's on the top of it and us to go toe-to-toe with them every time, I think that both schools have a mutual respect. At least I know in basketball we do. I do for Coach Ackerman and his team and the players that have rolled through there. And it's, it makes it fun, actually. It's hard to come out on the losing side as many times as we have, but at the same time, it's, it makes it a challenge, and it's made a lot of fun.
Well, Matt, the expectation is running high for next year with not only Ethan coming back, but your son Maddox, who had a school record 87 trays, Carney averaged a freshman in double figures, Patton averaged in double figures. So the expectations are great. But how do you keep a lid on things and keep their perspective where it should be?
Well, to me, that's the big challenge. There's going to be high expectations just surrounding Ethan in general, but also with Devin and Luke and Maddox and Mason and Rain and some of the younger guys I have coming in the program. I think I look at it from my perspective as the coaches. The program's healthy. There's always this worry. I look at it in a different way. There's always this worry of what happens when you lose a great player or a great class, which when I lose, Mason, Ethan, and Luke after the year, we're going to be in good hands. I think those are going to be some surprisingly really good teams, and that excites me as the coach. But it also, the expectations next year, that's going to be something we have to manage. And, how we're going to manage it, we'll figure that out as we go. But right now, it's exciting. Again, it's nice to have those problems when you're managing expectations.
I've talked to people, and they said it seems like Butler just has a clear way. In a section, I said, you're forgetting Pine. The cupboard's not going to be bare down there. And then you never know about Central Catholic. They're looking for a new coach. It's a tough section.
The cupboard's never bare at Pine, and it never is, and I don't think it will be in the foreseeable future. They're just a good program. They have a good program the whole way down through their elementary, and that's why I've built the elementary program that I've tried to build here in the middle school program, because I have to compete with them and NA and Central and everybody else. You have to have that now. If you don't have that, you aren't competing with those schools. And again, it's tough because every game is a grind, and nobody's ever bad in our section. But at the same time, it's challenging too, and it's the thing you're going to look back on at the end of this time. I guess as me as a coach, and I think like when Ethan finishes his career and these guys finish as players, how much fun it was to go out and compete every night, and there weren't walkovers.
Hey Matt, congratulations, doing a great job. We look forward to a great season next year.
Thank you, Ed.
This is it for Spotlight at Butler High School.